Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and today we are going to be talking about writing a difficult letter to somebody. When you want to tell them how they made you angry or how they upset you or whatever it is that you want to tell them. Just in case you've not watched the broadcast before, let me start off by explaining how we do this. What we do is the first part of the broadcast, we actually do a little bit of news and updates just to give everybody a chance to get here and participate. And so if you are watching for the first time and you just want to see the bit about the letter, then you will find in the notes below on the replay that it'll say from 00 to this time, news and updates, and then from another time up to the end, then that'll be the main topic. All right. And if you happen to be ghosting, as I call it, in other words, that you're watching. Just hold on 1 second. I've just realized that there's nobody in the room, and that's unusual. That means that, there we go. There's Jody. All right, Jody, I forgot to put up the link in. Just hold on 1 second, everybody. I normally put in the link in Facebook, and I forgot to do that. I was so happy to get there in time. Could you send me the link as you've got it? Because now that I'm actually in the broadcast, I don't get the same link. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I do. Hang on a second. Yes, I do. It's okay. I got it. Thanks, Jody. Just hold on 1 second, everybody. I'm just going to paste this. No, I've got it, Jody. Don't worry. It's funny how, I normally have a system for this, and I didn't keep to my system today, which is not a good idea. I really recommend that if you're a system type person, keep to your system. Oh, Lordy. All right, hang on 1 second. Nearly there. All right, that should help. All right. I'm going, it's strange. I'm talking to myself again. All right, so in the meantime, Jody, thank you for your updates. I just want to get to them. I really, for those of you who don't know, Jody is just wonderful at supporting me during the live broadcast. And I know that you told me some interesting facts today. Whoops. And that wasn't one of them. This is such a luxury for me. Hi there, Maman. Good to see you. From Tunisia, right? I hope I got that right. All right. So Jody tells me today is Chinese Valentine's Day. So for everybody that is Chinese, happy Valentine's Day. And also it is Daughter's Day. So anybody who's a daughter, happy Daughter's Day, whether your mum is alive or not. And I say that, or whether your mum is around or not, it's still happy Daughter's Day. Right? So don't look at the negative of that. Look at the positive of it, because it's really great that it is Daughter's Day. Oops. I just dropped my, yeah, in the coffee. The lead for my headphones. Not a good idea. All right. So thank you for that. And yes, remind me about that again, if you will, Jody, once everybody's in and I get to that section. Okay, so now then, it's a very exciting day for me because I've got Dougie coming over. For those of you who know Dougie, he's coming over after the broadcast to help me move some boxes around. Yay. And by the way, if you can see the boxes on the side here, for those of you who don't know, I'm in the horrible process, and it is a horrible process, of downsizing, and you can see all the stuff out there, of downsizing my home, because I'm going to be moving into something much smaller eventually. So now what Dougie's going to do, he's going to help me take those and take them down into my garage. But before we do that, here's what I thought. And I thought it was quite a brilliant idea, even though I say so myself. I'm going to get him to help me first bring out this many boxes out of the garage and bring them upstairs. because all those boxes that are in the garage at the moment are boxes that have been there for some time. I've probably got, 22 Christmas boxes, you know what I mean? So what I want to do is to get this many boxes up so I can see what's in them, and then take this many down, knowing that I know what's in them, right? And I know how important they are or not important. All right, so that's the first part. Now let me have a look at what our next job is. Yikes. But thanks for the updates there, Jody. I appreciate that, and I will need them again in a second. I haven't heard anything new that I know of from Erin. Am I right in that? Yeah, I don't think I've heard anything, but she may come in and update us. So I'm not sure where her health is at the moment. I know that she's had some, positive things going on the other side. And on Lauren seems to be fine. Happy birthday, Lauren. We'll get to that. But it's, she seems to be fine. I thought I would mention. Oh, that's good. I don't know Laura's daughter, and I'm not sure how many of the viewers will. But anyway, yeah, Jody's saying that Leah just posted that Laura's daughter had her baby, a boy named Aiden. Well, we wish them all well. So I did hear from Becca this morning, just very briefly. She said hi. I said hi back. She said, "How are you?" I said, "Good." And it was, I believe she was at Tim Hortons. So that was fun. So that's all she said. And as we heard, Pat is on vacation and won't be with us this weekend. Now, I wonder where she's gone on vacation this time, because obviously it isn't with the trailer. Oh, maybe it is. We'll find out. She's pretty good about letting us know. All right, so for those of you who are watching the broadcast for the first time, if you'd like to know when our broadcasts are happening, there's a bell in the top right-hand corner here somewhere, where if you click on that on YouTube, it will automatically tell you when I'm about to broadcast. So that's a good thing to know. And if you want to be kept up to date with what's happening to everybody, I mostly do those updates on Facebook and Twitter. So just so that you know, if you want to be kept up to date, it would be at DearMamaSal on Facebook, or DearMamaSal on Twitter. For those of you who don't know, we are a big extended family of people. And what we do is we help each other grow. And I say grow because all of us have got things going on in our life. And what we do is every week we get together and we do we do 3 broadcasts a week. And what we do is we try and make sure that everybody can take the next step, that you're not getting stuck. I was watching in the news today that a man just managed to kill his wife and children. And, as horrific as that is, my question was, what makes a man do that? What makes a person do that? And what makes a person do that is that they are overwhelmed and angry or desperate and feeling that they cannot, for example, that they cannot provide. I understand that the wife was pregnant as well, which made it even more amazingly sad. So, I kept thinking about that, and a little bit about what we're doing today on the Writing the Difficult Letter is about how do you process, hi Nada, how do you process your anger? Because if you haven't been taught how to process it, it just festers. Big hugs to you too, Nada. It's great to see you. So please, 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 if you know you've got an issue with anger, do something about it. Get some help. The other thing is, if you know you've got an issue with sadness, get the help. These things, if they have got to that sort of stage, these things don't go away on their own. You absolutely need to either do an awful lot of work. But, here's the problem. A lot of people say, oh, I don't need to go and get help because, I can do this on my own. Well, hello. If you can do it on your own, you wouldn't be. Does that make sense? If you could do it on your own, you wouldn't be in the state you're in because you would have stopped it beforehand. Does that make any sense to anybody? But I think it's so sad that we actually don't do more about teaching children and young adults and adults more about how to process the negative things, the anger, the disappointment, the whatever. And to me, it is a really important thing. I'm noticing as I get older, my fuse is a lot shorter than it used to be. I don't know if any of you relate to that. That's also. Yes. So Nada, can I repeat that? And I'm going to presume, if you say yes, I'm going to presume that as of now, anything that you say, that you will say it knowing that I will repeat it. How's that? And for those of you who are watching this, thanks, Nada. For those of you who are watching this, you will notice that I will ask people. I've got coffee grounds in my teeth. Don't you hate that? Anyway, I will ask people if I'm not 100% sure, if they want me to repeat stuff. And there it is. One little tiny, tiny, tiny little coffee grind, and you have no idea what it was doing inside my mouth. Oh, apparently there's another one. Anyway, so, and also the other thing that you need to know is that when we finish the broadcast, we actually disconnect the chat, especially when somebody reminds me. I clean forgot to do that. I got distracted last week. I went into the page to do it and something distracted me and I clean forgot to do it. How many of you relate to that one? All right, so here we go. Let me think about what news do we have. I have news. I went out yesterday and I looked at 2 different houseboats, and I will put up a little bit of footage that I've got on that. But, it was a sad day for me because 2 things. Number one, I found a really cute houseboat. Okay, so sorry. 1 second, Nada. I'm going to come to that in a second. And if I don't, please remind me. Anyway, I went to go and see this 2 houseboats. The one was really cute, but I hated the area it was in. And the other was a really great area. And I kept saying, I wish I could pull that one to this location. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was the wrong, but in a really nice location. So not a problem. All right. So Nada's asking me, she said, I have anger and I have now noticed my warning signs and triggers. Great. You understand that's a major step forward, Nada. If you know what emotion triggers you to get really angry, we all have what I call hot button issues. I know mine are abandonment and betrayal. And by the way, you don't have to do it. It just has to feel like that to me. And, that sets a little thing going in my system. And, there's good reason for that. It's happened to me rather a lot of times, right? And that is saying, and I try to pause and breathe and warn people, please stop. Yep. And then later asked, is it a good idea to warn people? I actually do as well. I say, something, I'm triggered at the moment, which means I'm in sort of getting close to a red zone, not red zone, but I've gone out of green. I'm in amber. Does that make sense to you? I'm sort of no longer in green. Hi, Linda. I'm not in green. I'm in amber now. Somebody switched the switch. And if I carry on, it'll go into red. And I don't want to, I just don't want to go there anymore because I say things that I regret for a long time. And sometimes a lifetime, because you can't take it back. So yes, I think it's a really good idea, and it's okay not to have that discussion just because the other person wants to. And I had that problem a lot, and Yvonne will tell you this. When I first met Yvonne, Yvonne wanted it fixed right now. Hi, Jamie. All right. And I saying I can't discuss it now. I'm too triggered to discuss it. I'll discuss it with you when I've calmed down. So I think it is okay, but I just need to tell you that what you said did press a button for me, and that's why I got triggered, and that's why I'm choosing to walk away from it at this moment. I will discuss this when I'm feeling more rational. So, excuse me. So I'm delighted that you can relate to that. Linda's saying, I've taught myself to stay quiet when I'm angry. But that quiet can last days. I mean, yeah, but you understand that. Are you doing anything to get the anger out, Linda? Because this is why I'm talking about writing that angry letter. Because I think it is important that you get the anger out, because when you can get it out, you can process it. And that's what I wanted to do. So I'm glad that a couple of you understand anger, because that means we'll have material to work with. And the truth is, you write angry notes, yeah, and we'll talk about how to process that. But the truth is, it helps us understand ourselves better if we bother to do it. All right, I want to give Jody a heads up and congratulations. She knew I was going to ask whether she'd done anything creative, because I reminded her a couple of days ago. I said, I hope you've done something creative, because I am going to publicly ask you. So, Jody, actually, you know something? Oh, by the way, people, I have some very serious advice to you. Whatever you do, hi, Trina, whatever you do, do not buy a brand new, hang on a second, a brand new cell phone and get a tablet on the same day. I mean, that is called instant insanity. Jody, may I share your picture? Because I can do that now. Because it's so cute. She drew a little dancing bunny. Hello, Jody. It's on the other side. Can I turn it around? Yes. Okay, look at this. Isn't it cute? Oh, sorry. You don't want to see my sleep pattern right now. Oops. Oh, come on. That's all right. I've got too many fingers touching the screen. Isn't it cute? So there you are. Proof that Jody was creative this week. I thought that was awesome. Actually, it was one of the reasons I wanted the laptop, is because I'm going to try and train myself that when I want to show you something, that I can do it on not a laptop, a tablet. So that is what I'm going to teach myself how to do, is be able to draw on the tablet. I haven't quite worked that out yet, but I know I will, because I'm smart. Well, sometimes. Yes, you know something? It was a no-brainer. I upgraded my phone, and that supposedly didn't cost me anything except the contract. But here was the thing: they had a special on. They had a special on where I got a $250 gift card from Walmart. So to me, that's what I call unexpected money. All right. When I get unexpected money, I'm inclined to get something that I've been wanting for myself. Does that make sense? So occasionally, I will get unexpected money, and I go, oh, I don't have to budget this money. This is my money because it's unexpected, So I went, what have I been waiting for? And I went, a tablet. So I went and got myself, it's called a Tab A. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to draw that? Sure, I can. I will find that out when you're not on the air with me. But anyway, it's called a Tab A, made by Samsung. I really do like Samsung products. I got another Samsung phone, and I got hang on a second. And I got myself another pop socket at the back. Do you know, it was so funny. I had no idea what a pop socket was, but it's something where you can hold your phone like this. Do you all have that on your phone? So, you can, your chances of dropping your phone, right? The chances of dropping your phone are sort of slim to not many. And I really like that. And so this is the S8, which has that screen that actually goes around. And yeah, I really like the and it's like a couple of bucks. And I want to tell you, it's so comfortable. Not only that, let me show you what else it does. Okay. Let me do it that way. When you get the idea? So then you can watch your phone it automatically is the right angle. Okay, so, and then this one, my other one, you just pushed it like that and it's closed. This one, you actually close and lock. See that? You close it and then turn it. And it undoes the same way. But the good news is, I really want to tell you something. It was so funny because I didn't know what a pop socket was. And then I asked somebody one day, somebody who was very big into them. And I said, what is it? I have no idea what a pop socket is because, I'm old. And then they told me, and I, up until then, I said, what does it do? Well, it does this. So you can sort of, hold it and talk and do whatever, and you won't drop your phone. And I'm going, that is so cool. And I immediately went out and got myself one. So just, so I got the S8. Now, let me tell you what I didn't know when I bought them and the Tab. I didn't know that they have USB-C chargers. Now, luckily, they both came with their own chargers, the charging cable. So it means for my backup, like I've got a cable in the car and all sorts of things, I'm going to have to change out all my cables to upgrade them to, I think it's called USB-C. BC, USB, and the end of it. Hang on a second. Okay, that makes sense. This end, you know what I mean? The little end is slightly different. It looks the same, but it isn't. It is what it's called a C version. So that's how they make their money, right? How many of you get frustrated with that? But it is what it is. You can't get away from it. If you want to charge your phone, you better get one. So more money. So as you will understand, I not only need it for this, I also need it for my tablet. So I've got to have backups for both of those. And I need it for the car. So the other thing is, I haven't done it yet, but I was going to try and do a vlog in the car with the tablet, see what that's like. Now, I did go back. You know something? I didn't know it, Jody, but apparently my phone was 4 years old. So it's not like I have been hasty, right? It was time for an upgrade. And the other thing was, even the person working with my phone, trying to move stuff over, she said, gosh, this phone is hot. And I said, yeah, that's what I've noticed. Not only is it not charging properly, but it gets hot. And, to me, that's like it's time to change it now. I think it's built in. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that these things are built in to stop charging properly and, to make sure you buy a new one. And, the scary thing is how much they actually cost, but you don't notice it as much, obviously, on a 2-year plan. But it's like $1,000 for a cell phone today. A good one. And this isn't this year's model. This is a S8, not a 9. The 9 has come out. That's why I bought the 8. And by the way, do you guys do that? I always buy the one just under the one that they've just released because they're normally trying to get rid of those. That's my logic, right? And there normally is a good deal on them. And the other thing I really liked is it has a really good camera. That's another reason I like Samsung. Their cameras are really good. And, that is important. Plus, this has twice the battery life of my other phone, which for me is really important because, I talk a lot, as you know. Talking about talking a lot, let us go and see where we're at with this. First of all, yeah, I love Samsung products as well. I don't get paid by them by any matter of means, but I really, Samsung and LG. And funny enough, I moved back to Samsung. I had a Samsung, went to LG, which I loved, but I still love the Samsung better. And the other thing I love about them, their customer service is amazing. That night when I was having problems with the tablet, I was online with a technician immediately. You know what I mean? I knew that I just had to go, I type in Samsung customer service, and I knew somebody would be popping up in a live chat. And so that's, to me, that's sort of really worth the money. I don't know if I told you, but I also have a situation that I did, and I'd like some of you to know about this if you don't know it already. Because my computer is so important to me, I have a special program with Best Buy where I pay them, I think it's about $25 a month. Now, before you all freak out, because that's a lot of money, let me tell you what that buys me. That buys me, anytime I have a problem with my computer, I can take it in and they will give me one to work with while they're fixing mine. Plus, I don't pay to get it fixed. So if you like, it's $25 a month for savings plan to sort out my computer. How many of you have ever had to take your computer in? And you know how much it costs. So to me, they only cover it for 4 years. Yes, you're buying $25 a month of peace of mind. Plus, if you have a problem technically, you can actually do the same thing, which is Best Buy has a 24-hour service where there's some geek online that will help you. And they will assess whether you need to take it in or whether it's a user error. Do you know what I'm saying? They sort of find out whether you just are a bozo and you pressed the wrong buttons, or whether actually the machine has a problem, in which case you need to take it in. So I think that is a great service, and you might want to check it out if you happen to buy a computer at Best Buy, which I did. And the interesting thing is I've already had it in twice. So who's making money here? And both times they gave me almost a computer where the box had been opened. It wasn't a brand new in as much the box hadn't been opened, but it was brand new. What did they call it? Refurbished in as much as the box had been opened and somebody'd returned the computer or whatever. Yeah, Jody, I really would, in today's reality, I really would recommend it. And the reason for that is because although none of us want to when $25 a month that you haven't got, when when something goes wrong with your computer, that is really a lifesaver, where you literally walk in and you go, there's something wrong with my computer. Please give me another one. I have the plan. And it's amazing because both times that I've had mine in, they literally went, okay, here you go, just sign here. And, they just write down the model number, whatever it is. And you get to keep that and work with it for as long as you need to until they've fixed the computer. My computer went in for over a week, and I had full use of the other computer. Now, it means that you've got a bit of downloading again. It's terrifying when you don't have the money on hand. Absolutely. And for me, as a broadcaster, it's even more so, right? Because I know how many people, would be affected, and they probably think I'd fallen off the edge of the earth or something. All right, so let me now talk a little bit about writing that letter. So what I was hoping was that we could get some input from people. But what I wanted to do was talk about a letter that you feel you need to write. The time we are talking about is 31:30. The subject about how do you do this? How do you do a difficult letter? To my mind, will also cover how do you deal with somebody who is always negative. And, I want to sort of deal with both at the same time, but we're going to start with the letter. Have you got upset with anybody recently? Because if you have, then what I would like is some of the things that you think. What comes to my mind is, you really made me angry. So I need to write some of these down so I can work through them. Oh, hang on one second. I need to move the computer. It's not there. Okay. So, hi, Linda. So give me the sort of things that you're, when something has happened, what sort of things do you say to yourself, or to want to say to them? How many of you relate to, you really make me angry? What other ones? Give me a couple more. You really hurt me would be another one, right? All right. Anybody else got one? Ah, that's a good one, Jody. Jody's saying, how could you disrespect me that way? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. What Linda's saying, when she gets angry, she either goes, disappears, or she lets rip. There's nothing in between. That's why I want to just talk to you a little bit, Linda. But it's good to know that you can ghost now, that you can just walk away from it. That takes huge, huge self-control. All right. So the point that I wanted to make is, I've been saying recently, if it's your emotion, it's your problem, right? Oh, Jody's going, why do you think it's your way or the highway? That's a good one. It has to be your way. Okay. Good. All right, so that's oh, I'm very hurt by what you did. Yes, that's a good one, Trina. However, Trina, I'd like to say that most people would start off by saying, you hurt me when. Wow, Linda's saying she blocked somebody that she's known for 20 years last week. Yeah, it takes, I want to tell you something, Linda, that takes a lot of anger or a lot of awareness. You know what I mean? Either you were very angry or you are so aware of your triggers that you're going, yeah, this person is really in, triggering me in a way that's not healthy. All right, so let's start talking a little bit about them. And I was wondering if I can do the usual thing, which is to have the good cop, bad cop. Is anybody prepared to be the angry person? Ah, all right, then that makes sense to me now. Yeah. Yeah. You know something? Anybody, and Linda, for those who are watching on the replay, Linda's saying that this person was partnered to the person who abused the dog, her dog Lucky. How's Lucky doing, by the way? How many toys can Lucky identify now? I'm so pleased I taught you that. Because, any border collie is so smart and they love to show you how smart they are. Yeah, I can totally understand it. And, anybody who does that to an animal, you know what they're doing to human beings. That's my reality. If anybody can abuse an animal, they also are capable of abusing humans. So in a way, I feel sorry for that person who's partnering because they probably don't know better than to get out of that line of fire. Anyway, never mind. Let's get on with what we're doing. So let us start. I need a good cop and a bad cop. So who's prepared to be good cop for me and who's prepared to be bad cop? And what I need is the good cop to only think good thoughts about the situation and the bad cop to be angry. And when I say be angry, play that part so we can work through the two. Jody's saying, I'll be good cop. It's the only one you can be most of the time, Jody. However, I do know that you have a bad cop in you. So, just in case anybody thinks you're perfect. All right. So, all right, I'll be bad cop then. If nobody's volunteering, I will do the work. So here we go. Jody, let us start with, you really make me angry. Have you ever said it? Yes. Under what circumstances do we say that? You really make me angry when... Now, if you have total love for yourself, Jody, all right, what causes that reaction? And, and I want to tell you from the anger side of it, how dare they? It normally is somebody, I'm trying to think what happens. Oh, that's good, Linda. You're really learning this. Linda says, I've said this to my sons, and I usually follow it now with, please, can we take a time out? Not just you take a time out, which is what most parents say, control issues, right? Can we please take a time out, all of us, right? Because things have been triggered. Yeah, I totally, let's all go away and think about this. And, we'll talk about it later when we settle down a bit. But, obviously, yeah. And Jody's saying the reason we get this angry is normally out of fear. And, I go back to that quote from Dr. Jerry Jerry Jampolsky, where he said, there are really only two emotions, love and fear. And so here's what I wanted to say. Is it true that you really make me angry? Is that the truth? I want you all to think about that. And the reason I want you to, Trina says no. Okay, Trina, why not? So Linda's saying, no, the situation makes me angry. Yes, we are the ones getting angry, right? They didn't make us angry. Our reaction to what they did or said was anger. So again, you remember I always say this thing about, my emotion, my problem? Jody came out of nice person there. She said, the person's behavior makes me angry. Though, how many of you know that feeling? Yeah. So, but here's the question. Are they perfectly entitled to behave any way they like? You see, because here's the other thing I keep saying, right? We're only responsible for our behavior. So what I'm really, you see, I've had rather a lot of these going on this last couple of weeks, as you know, right? I've had rather a lot of things that have made me just a little angry. And I'm going, why is the world showing me this? Because that's how I see things now, right? Everything is a lesson for me. And, it's just like the world is showing me this because I've obviously got an anger management problem going on at some level. And, I start to laugh and go, okay, let me work this out. And so that's why I've been really looking at it. Yeah. And Linda's saying, yes, I'm not responsible for how they feel. You're only responsible how you feel and how you act. Okay. So is it true that you really make me angry? I just want to make sure we're really clear on that. Who makes us angry? Ourselves. Right. So it's not true, but it feels true at the time, doesn't it? So what I want you and me, what I want us all to understand is whenever we actually come out with those words, I want you now to go, I know better than this. I know better than this. I didn't before, but I know better than this. This is my emotion, my anger. They didn't make me angry. I became angry when I saw whatever or heard whatever. All right. Are we quite clear on that one? So if ever you want to write to somebody, but what you're trying to say is you made me angry when, do you understand? We need to reword it. I felt great anger when. Does that make sense? So you take it away from blaming, you make me really angry, and we own our part of it. I was really angry. I felt really angry when I saw this, or I heard this. Now, the next thing I want to ask you, how does it feel when you admit that you lost control? That was the next thing. How does it feel when you have to admit that you lost control? And it doesn't matter how many people say you had every reason to react. The truth is, if we get angry, we lost control of our emotions. Does that make any sense? That's a tough one, but you guys are tough people. So I want you to. Trina's going, it's a hard one. I hate it. I do too, Trina, if it makes you feel any better. But you can see it, right? I hate to say this, but we could spend years in therapy getting to this. Or we could just, understand it right now. And get a sense of humor about it. I'm not saying you're going to get it right. I'm not going to say that just because you heard this, it's going to fix it forever, because it's not true. But what you will be able to do is to go, wait a minute. As much as I hate this, let me just remember, this is my emotion, my problem. Yeah, you just tell yourself your bad side came out, your witch from hell. And I do the same thing, Linda. And when I lose control now, even if I've let it run across the top of my mouth and out, I actually go home and I go, I'm not very proud of myself for that one. So obviously I need to apologize. That's a difficult one. So all right, let's try the next one. Let's see how we do with the next one. You really hurt me. True? It could be. If somebody was physical with you, it could be true that they really hurt you. And I think, what came to my mind when I was thinking about this was, did any of you grow up with sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but bad words never hurt me, or words never hurt me? Right? So to me, I'm beginning to realize that adage was actually quite clever, but it wasn't. I wasn't explained to me well enough, I don't think. How many of you have heard that expression or that little phrase, whatever? Sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but words will never hurt me. I grew up with it, but it didn't make any sense to me because words did hurt me. Do any of you, understand that point of view? It was like, what are you talking about? Of course the words hurt me. They were nasty. So if we go, you really hurt me, and it's not physical, all right, because we need to identify that could be true of somebody. Oh, so Trina's version is sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But they do hurt, says Jody. Now, Jody is very slow to anger, but you can hear, she totally understands. Yeah, words do hurt if we allow them to. But is it true that, and I quote, you really hurt me? Come on, guys. You can do this. If you allow them to. Okay? It's how we process it. So they can call you a raving idiot. And how many of you has had somebody say, you're a raving idiot or something like that, and you burst out laughing? You go, yeah, that's right. So it's not true that, names will never hurt you, but it's also not true that names always will hurt you. So I want to make sure you got the balance there. Because if you've got a sense of humor, you probably, do you know what self-deprecating humor is? Yeah, that's interesting. Trina's saying it's their stuff in your words. So, wow. Or even it's our stuff in their words. So let's go back to this again. And what if we are smart enough to go, you know something? They didn't hurt us. My reaction to what they said is what hurt. All right. I took it in and I allowed it to it's like an arrow, puncture my heart. Because that's what it feels like, right? It feels really sore when it happens, where, somebody says something and you go, that is, yeah, that really hurt me. Now, let me ask you something, because you guys are smart. What sort of comments really hurt you? Let's pretend that you're not responsible. But let's just first of all work on what. Yeah. Jody's saying, what you think of me is none of my business. That's Terry Cole Whitaker who said that. And yeah, I think that is a great phrase. But, when I read that title, I went, yeah, but apparently what they think of me is part of my business because I react to it. So if and here's an example I used to give to people, which is, I'm trying to think who first said this, and I thought it was such a good analogy. I've got a feeling it was Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, in one of his books or whatever. He said, and I love this, he said, if somebody put a funnel in your ear and poured gasoline into it and then said, okay, you're a car, would you become one? Would you go around the room? And, I really thought about that, which is like, we only become hurt when we take on what they said. Does that make any sense to anybody? If they say to you, you're stupid, and you actually have 35, university degrees, will it have any impact? Jody, may I repeat that? Because that is really important stuff. Okay, listen to this. Jody says weight issues. She has lymphoderma and has ballooned up because of the lymphoderma. Memory problems, wheelchair or disabled comments. I am sensitive to those. Yes. And so that's good to know, right? What are my triggers, right? You start talking about weight issues, I'm likely to get triggered. If you start talking about memory problems or lack of them, I'm very sensitive to that. I am too. And wheelchair, Jody, you you want to see how many times I see people park in wheelchair parking spaces, and I will walk up to them and I'll pick up my phone and say, you got about 30 seconds to remove your car before I call somebody to remove it. You see, I've got friends in wheelchairs. And that's why it's got a wheelchair picture on it, because it's meant for wheelchairs, not for you. It's meant for people who need a wheelchair. So you have a choice now. Move, or I'm calling the cops to come move you. Now, I don't make friends that way. But every time I do it, I feel there's a silent orchestra of yay from all my friends that are in wheelchairs. And I would encourage you all to do that. That anybody who's listening this on the replay, and if you are able-bodied and you see people parking in wheelchair spaces, literally do something about it. Don't just go, oh, that's rotten. They're using a wheelchair space. However, I will say one thing. If ever you want to go to a really important event and you're in a hurry, go with somebody who's in a wheelchair. Because my experience is that 9 times out of 10, you're more likely to find wheelchair parking than you are regular parking. And I found that out with a friend of mine who was in a wheelchair, and I'm going, gosh, I can't believe how there isn't any parking anywhere. And she said, watch this. And she literally drove around and went, okay, there it is. So it goes both ways. And get a sense of humor around that as well. All right, so Let's go on to the next one. So we're about to do the third comment in our letter, right? I hate it when. Is that true? And the reason that I wanted to talk about that statement is because hate is a very strong word, one that I think most of us have used it at some time. And when I really look at it, I kept thinking perhaps the better wording would be I get upset when, because that's what happens to me. I get upset when I see this behavior, or I get upset when I hear those words. I can say I hate it when you swear at me, right? For example, if that's the situation. But the truth is, I get upset hearing those words used at me. And that's what I would like you to do is to take responsibility for what you feel. But on the other hand, think about how you can tone down the words you use. Now, why would you want to tone down the word from hate to I get upset? What will happen to the conversation or the wording when you move out of hate, which is a very strong word, into I get upset when I hear da 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 da? And I think you can probably feel that it changes the narrative, as they say, right? It tones it down a little. It is not the same. Now, what happens if you say, listen to this one. I was fascinated to see you do da 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 da. Could you explain why you did it? Right? So what happens if you say, I was fascinated to hear you say these words, because you don't normally use words like that? Can you let me know what caused it? Yeah, Linda's saying, instead of hate, you would use words like I dislike it, or it bothers me. It makes me uncomfortable when I hear those words, right? So that's what I want to do, is make sure you understand it's not their trouble, it's yours. Own it, all right? But then also tone down the words, because it takes a lot of the emotion out of it. So that if you can get all the emotion out of it, you just go, it fascinates me that you use that word because you don't normally use it, which makes me think you might be a little angry. Did I do something to trigger that? What if you totally turned it around? So that's another possibility. All right. Now, Jody, I want to come back to this one, because I know this is a really important one for some of you who grew up with respect. You were taught to be respectful of people, and it's eroding. There's no doubt about it. So Jody's comment was, how could you disrespect me like that? Yeah, Trina's saying that when somebody says that to you, the answer could be, and see, understand it goes both ways, Jody. The answer could be, that's interesting. In what way do you feel? Understand, it's their feeling. In what way do you feel I disrespected you? Because it wasn't my intent. So if I'm writing a letter to somebody where I feel that I happen to be disrespected, I'd go, I really have to tell you, I really felt uncomfortable when you said X, Y, and Z. because, of A, B, and C. But could you explain why you said it? I'm interested to hear your side of it. Now then, Jody, I need you to take a really deep breath for this one. Let me know when you are settled, honey. So thank you. All right, she gave me permission. So if I said to you, why do you think it's your way or the highway? What I want to know, Jody, what comes up for you in your mind when you hear me say that? Is it control? Or what comes up for you? You know something, Jody? You really upset me. It's always got to be your way or the highway. Yeah. Linda's saying, what if you asked, why should it be your way or no way? Yes. And Jody, good for you. So much anger, right? Control from a person in my past. You're right. Jody, every time you think that, do you understand how controlling that thought is? The fact that you say it's got to be your way or the highway, it's a mirror. If you get really honest with yourself, Jody, you want them to change and do it your way. So, I look at it now, and believe me, I'm working on this thing a lot at the moment. When I look at that, I'm going, okay, fine. If that's what I feel, and there's nothing wrong with what we feel, right? But what we say is different. So I can feel, gosh, that's really controlling. Yeah, you got to do it. Listen, it happens to me. You've seen it. When people tell me I must do something, I go, no, I don't. How many of you have noticed that? Or you have to do. I go, no, I don't. Last time I checked, I'm an adult. I don't have to do that. I've learned how to control that control. Do you understand? So when I hear somebody trying to control me, I stop it now. I go, I hear you use the word must. I'm not a 5-year-old. The last time I checked, I'm 70, about to be 71, and I don't have to do anything. I choose to. As an adult, I choose to do things. I am not in fear of stuff. I don't have to stop at a stop sign, but I'm aware of the consequences if I don't. I don't have to get up every day and brush my teeth, but I prefer to do that. I don't have to make my bed. You understand? So I actually talk to people, and you will have seen me do it on broadcasts where I actually stop them from the control words. So, but the thing is, to my horror, is that, of course, that is a mirror to me, because if I am triggered by those words, the chances are I control people as well. Does that make sense? So what I keep looking at is, what am I doing that sounds like that you have to do this and you have to do that? I do try to give people choices now. And, Linda, I think it takes a great deal of courage to turn off a friend, even a pretend friend. It takes a lot of courage to actually disconnect from that person, because, friends are difficult to come by. But as a friend of mine once said, if you need to disconnect them, they were a pretend friend, not a real friend. Because a real friend, you could have this conversation with. All right, so now let's work on the next one. And let's hear, everybody can react to this. What if you're, okay, so Linda's saying, which bit, Linda, when you first heard me say what? Just so I'm clear. While we're waiting for Linda to reply on that one, let me just feed out the next one. Even if you take responsibility and say, I am very hurt by what you did. So let me pretend that I'm talking to Jody, because we know Jody pretty well. Jody, if I said to you, I'm very hurt by what you did, Jody, does that calm you down, or does it, set up wavelengths for you automatically? Yeah, okay, I'm going back to Linda's point. Now she's just told me what it is that she's so what she's saying is that when she first heard me say, listen, I'm not a 5-year-old. You don't get to tell me what I have to do, right? She said, I was really taken aback. But as I got to know you, it made more sense, right? I didn't rise to any of her threats or comments. I just walked away and said nothing, right? Wow. So Jody, the moment I say to you, I am very hurt by what you did, it makes you feel sad and guilty, even without hearing what it was. So, so this is not easy, all right? Even if you word it and take accountability, it's still going to hurt the other person. Does that make sense? Because you cannot control their emotions when they hear it. So let's go through these again. So what happens to you when you hear the words, you really make me angry? Right? And I'm saying that to you guys. How do you process that? Linda, you really make me angry. By the way, does the voice tone make a difference? It triggers past issues. Yeah, that's a very good point. If you've got any post-traumatic stress in your life and you hear, you really made me angry, it could actually start off a tape in your mind due to post-traumatic. Now, here's a good one. Jody is so I want to say in need, Jody. Just bear with me a second while I get the right wording for that. That's not the right wording, but I need to just use it in the time being until I get the right one. That she said, but please understand, Lionel, that's her husband, tells me I apologize for things I had nothing to do with. How many of you relate to that? That you're so busy trying to keep the waters calm that you apologize for stuff you have no ownership of whatsoever. Boy, I relate to that. By the way, it's a very codependent thing to do. I've been there. Yeah, Linda's saying voice tone. Yeah, my thoughts today. So what have I done? previous thoughts pre-sell. Oh my goodness, and scared. All right, so that's interesting, and I thank you for that, Linda. So you can see there is the voice tone alone. As you've heard me say, that a look can do it as well. So, but what I'm trying to make sure we understand here is, if you say to them, "You really made me angry when da 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 da," do you understand the first thing you set up in them is negativity? Because it is human nature that when you hear those words, your defenses come up before you even heard what it was. So to me, what I wanted to get you to think about was, even if you word it well, does it still hurt? Even if you take full accountability, something, my emotions are my stuff, and I just want to let you know that I saw you do X, Y, and Z, and I felt really badly, but it's my stuff. Will it still have an negative effect on people? And so, to me, it begs another question. Trina, I so understand what you're saying, honey. Trina says, I'm a Scorpio. Let's use that as an excuse, right? Let's blame my anger on the fact that I'm a Scorpio, Trina. Or I'm Irish. I mean, did we forget that one? Or that, I have, red hair, So, how many of you have heard people say that? Oh, well, you have to forgive me on that one because, I'm Scorpio. So what Trina said was, I'm a Scorpio, so if you bite at me, I bite back. Not aggressively, but I have been stung. And therefore, if you push me, I will push back. Okay, now what I've always said, Trina, and I'm not perfect at this, but I do want to remind you, if you push against somebody and you fall back, they've got nothing to push against. They fall over. So if somebody pushes you with sticks and stones, may hurt my bones, right? Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. She's Capricorn, so she's never going to forgive. Yeah, that's a good one. Or I'm Virgo. I'm bound to be tidy. Yeah, right. Or forgive the mess. I don't have, that gene. Whatever. Let's blame it on something. So to me, this is like, if you can see that when you use a word that is aggressive, you will set up an aggressive response. Now, some of you know that I had an issue go on about a week ago where I was badly triggered on a number of issues, my stuff. And I actually wrote the letter to explain how I was triggered, and I took responsibility for it. So here's what I found out. I found out that I missed one, in all that I wrote, I missed one line where I said, please don't do X, Y, and Z. And it was so funny because I met the person and they reacted to that one line where I said, please don't do X, Y, and Z. And they told me they found that controlling. And I said, that's interesting. Yep. Actually, I was came from a place of trying to protect you because if you call me before I'm ready to talk about it, and in other words, I'm still in emotional triggers, what I'm likely to say could be very nasty. So it wasn't my intent to control you. I guess it was, I said, now that I think about it. Yeah, I think you're right. I was trying to control you by asking you not to phone. So can you see that if I didn't want to talk to them about it, I just needed to stop answering the telephone, right? It's still on me. It's not like don't phone me. This is for me to control, not for them. Can you see that? And it made me think, and that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Even after all this work, right, where we reword things and we can see how damaging they are, my question was when I was talking to this person yesterday, I was thinking, you know what? Why did I write the letter? Because the truth is that it was my stuff. And I actually not sure whether I improved the relationship by writing it. Now, do you, any of you understand? Yeah, Jody's saying, but if they kept ringing and you didn't answer, wouldn't that create anger possibly? Yes, or worry or whatever. But that's why I actually did say, please don't call, because I know that would be their first reaction probably. Um, so where do you do it right? So I actually was, in a way, okay with the fact that that was the only thing that they triggered on, because it was the only thing I did that was controlling in their view. And I went, yeah, I can understand that. Actually, I was trying to protect you, but I can understand that you would have seen it as controlling. Yep, totally get it. I'd like to apologize for that. Actually, and then I said, actually, no, I'm not going to apologize for it because I'm so glad that we had the space so that we could talk about it rationally. Always a good idea to clean out your fridge. Well done, Beth. So I really did. I started wondering, why did I ever write the letter? If I get really clear on what's happening, if I get really clear about why I got angry, then surely that this is my stuff. Now, Jody's asking, what about you need to set the boundary? All right. So give me an example, Jody, where you're going to tell me something because you want to set a boundary. Can you think of one? And just pretend you're writing to me and setting a boundary. Let's see how we do on this one. Linda, can you send me one as well? And yes, Trina, you're getting better. Trina's saying it was their stuff. Yeah, they didn't like the fact that I was trying to control their behavior. But I was pretty sure I did it for the right intent, and I explained that. Whether they liked it or not, that's their stuff. So the question now is, um, to Jody, could you give me a line, or anybody, can you give me a line where you were trying to set a boundary with somebody? In other words, somebody is really frustrating you because they go, let's say, for example, it's, and this probably some of you may have witnessed, but maybe somebody's gone through a breakup or something like that, and they just go on and on and on with a pity party. So how do you set that boundary in a positive way? without causing negative reactions. I can remember very, very long time ago, somebody telling me something that I thought was incredibly clever, but I've often wondered whether it also was incredibly rude. Um, but it works. And somebody said to me, if you got somebody on the telephone that, it's just going on and on and on, and you want to stop it, just disconnect mid-sentence, right? Have just literally don't wait to the end of a sentence, do it mid-sentence. Because that actually does sound like something went wrong with the line. Does that make sense? The other thing is they will carry on talking and get it out of their system before they realize that you're not there anymore, which is a really interesting thing. And sometimes they'll phone you back and you go, wow, I'm so glad you called me back. I don't know what happened. Just the phone disconnected. Or don't tell that lie. Just say, gosh, the phone disconnected, which is true. You created it, but you don't have to say that. It's just like the phone disconnected. And then don't go back to that conversation, right? Whatever you do, don't go back to that. Totally change the subject. By the way, what are you cooking this evening? Move the narrative away. All right. So Linda's saying, which is why I write down my thoughts and issues, and I put these away in a drawer, and then I look at them later, away from the anger. I turn my phone off if they won't shut up. Yep. So my next question is, what do you do if it's on email or text? Because in today's reality, do we have more and more people doing these things on text messages or on, right? See, Jody, it's interesting. You want to offer to help them make a plan of action. For whatever they need help in and move along. If they wanted a plan of action, if they wanted help with that, do you think they would ask you? And the question is, did they ask you for that help? Trina's saying, I've had my husband ring the doorbell on one occasion when he was talking to somebody on the phone who was going on and on. So he just went and rang his own doorbell and went, sorry, got to go, doorbell. Yes, Linda, this is so true. Just because somebody sends you a message doesn't mean that you have to respond. But our conditioning is, it is rude if we don't, right? So that's our conditioning. But the truth is, if somebody is going on and on, where is it written that you have to listen? In the, it was really strange. In the days when I still smoked, a lot of people used to phone me with their issues, and they would go on and on. And I always would say to them, hey, before you start, let me get some cigarettes. Why did I say that? Because I knew this was going to be a long thing, right? So Jody's saying these people need to fill the time between afternoon and evening, right? Or Linda's saying, I treat my house phone and my mobile like my front door. I answer it when it's convenient. How many of you just heard my telephone ring? And the question is, Do I have to answer it? No. The only way that this makes sense is if we keep control. I know that somebody just tried to call me. Does part of me go, I wonder who that was? Yeah. The other thing is, let me just check. Did they leave a message? And the interesting thing is, my phone will probably tell me. I don't know how it does it, but it's a very talented phone, and it tells me if somebody's left a message for me. Make sense? And so, I look at it now and I go, the other thing that you need to understand is people who go on and on and on, you keep encouraging them to do that. Do you understand that? You encourage people to do it by the questions that you ask them. So let me try and think of that. Okay, let's pretend that I'm somebody that I'm a big talker, which I am. So how do you stop a talker? I've got a friend of mine that's got a great way of doing it, but I actually tell him that it tweaks me. And what he'll do is be on the phone with me, and you know what he says? I've really taken up too much of your time. And I'm sure you need to get on with your life. Okay, so Beth's saying she refuses to talk in text. If there's an issue, she just says, if you want to talk, call me. And they normally don't. Linda's saying, yeah, my friend asking to borrow money every 2 weeks. Trina's saying, try and change the subject. Yeah, and it's interesting because, as I said, my friend, when he wants to disconnect, by the way, have you heard that you can, if you really listen, you can tell when somebody's had enough of a conversation? By their voice tone. I've got one very dear friend. Whenever I talk to him, I can hear when he has lost interest in the conversation because I can hear it in his voice, and I can hear that he's multitasking. You either hear noises going on or whatever, but that they're not in the present. They're doing something else. So the point that this whole thing about I'll let you get on with the rest. Okay, I'm sure you're busy, so I'll let you get on with your life. Do you understand that's a controlling statement? I have decided that I don't want to talk to you anymore, and therefore this is what I say. Yes, Beth, I agree with you. Changing the subject doesn't necessarily work. It doesn't work with somebody she talks to, because then she yells at me for not caring or dismissing what she wants to argue about. That's a good one. So interesting. Can you put that in pretend that she's talking to me, and what sort of things does she say, Beth? Let's see if we can work out some. Yeah, I do too, by the way. So anybody who's had that happen to them, give me some of the statements you hear that trigger you. I have one where it's always like, this is what I think you should do. Yeah, I think you should do da 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 and da 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 da. And I go, I've learned to say that's really interesting. I'll give that some thought, even though I totally disagree. It's like that's interesting. I'll give that some thought. You're not saying I disagree with you. You're saying that's interesting. I'll give that some thought. All right. So Beth, I presume it's okay for me to repeat that. Let me know. Okay, so Beth says, this person she's talking about, she says that I don't see her enough, but I don't have time to visit her. I have 2 jobs. She thinks it's an excuse. No point in arguing if she can't see my side of things. Beth, do you answer with, you know something? I hear the love in that. I hear that you'd like to see me, and I'm so happy, and I'm so frustrated because right now I'm trying to hold down 2 jobs and I don't have enough time for me, never mind my family. My family I live with, never mind go visiting my friends. So yes, I am overwhelmed and I am so sorry. And then say, why don't you give me a couple of dates that work for you? And let's schedule an appointment. That would be my suggestion. All right. So Jody's saying, I give 100% to whomsoever, she's speaking to, and it costs me sometimes. I've learned to say I can't stay on the phone for 3 hours because it's too fatiguing. Yeah. If I've got what I call somebody who is a negative Nelly type person that phones me, I literally start the conversation saying, hey, I really wanted to catch up with you, but I need to warn you, I've only got 10 minutes. Right? And then, check your watch. And when 10 minutes are up and say, hey, you remember at the beginning I said I've only got 10 minutes. I've just done 12. I have to get out of here. So sorry I can't give you more time. Bye for now. Done. Um, it's like enough. You've been a friend, you've listened, right? But there's nothing to say you have to listen for 3 hours. We are not controlling ourselves. That's what I wanted to explain. Right? If we have self-control, we get to choose this. Yeah, Trina. Trina says she calls them a drain on the brain. Oh, so good one, Jody. Oh, what do you say, Sal? She's asking me. If they say, oh, I just need to tell you one more thing. You go, why don't you write it to me? I have to go, as I explained earlier. Bye. Let them write it to you. How many times have you heard me say that to people? Please write to me and explain this. I'd love to, yeah. Yeah, I really want to hear this next thing. Do me a favor, send me an email about it so I can check it later when I'm less busy. But I really need to go now, as I said. Bye for now. It's really important that we learn how to keep control. Because does it make sense to anybody that if they are making us this angry, we did not control ourselves? All right. Either we didn't speak up, right? In other words, hey, I just saw you do X, Y, and Z. Why did you do that? Oh, it was so funny. I met somebody yesterday. I was coming out of a restaurant and somebody chirped at me. You know what I mean? Chirped at me. I can't remember what it was about. Well, if you chirp at me, you're going to get a chirp back. It was so funny because she chirped something at me and it was funny. And I did my full actress thing and you know how intense I can be, right? So, I literally heard it. And I walked over to her and I got in her space and I said, "Did you just call me a da 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 da?" And I want to tell you, this woman just freaked. And I went, "Because if so, you're absolutely right." But I'd already had the effect and she had moved back and she said, "Wow, that was scary for a moment." And I said, "Yeah, but you know something? I would never have done it if I didn't think you had one heck of a good sense of humor. And everything about your body language and the way that you do things told me that you did." And she said, I do." I said, "Now I'd like to ask if I may give you a hug because you really did a good job of reacting." And she was laughing she was crying with laughter at me. And she said, "Are you from England by any chance?" And I went, Originally, yeah." Okay, so Beth saying that the person she's talking about is emotionally draining and sucks everything out of me. It's always about drama or her wanting to control me in some way or make me feel bad about my choices in life. Yes, I work at this store and yes, I do cleaning on the side. And I hear that you think I have a ghetto job, but I like it and you need to get over it. That's the controlling statement, the end one. No, she doesn't have to. You understand that, Beth? How about wording it in a softer way, saying, one day I hope you can see that I'm actually quite happy. Instead of the controlling one, but I like it and you need to get over it. You understand? That's the control bit. But I like the rest of it. I do this, and I hear that you think I have a ghetto job. And that's sad to me, but one day I hope you get to see that I actually am quite happy. And that's what's important in my life. I found that I was quite interested in being asked whether I was happy about, going to live in the trailer. I'm still trying to do that deal. Uh, and I said, no, actually, I can't say I'm happy because, there's so much to do. It doesn't make me happy. I'm just, it is what I need to do. All right. So, Beth, you understand if every time you see her, she asks if you found a new job, go, how about, I think I've answered that about 6 times, honey. How about we move on to something else? Because that's getting a bit boring now. I'm happy. So let's leave that one alone. Okay. Anything else you want to ask me? Don't make it worse. Or, just literally say, hey, if I never worded it this way, I'm actually loving it, which is important to me. So let's move on. All right. Just don't let it trigger you. I mean, it's easy for me to say, Beth, because I'm working on it too. But you understand what this is. What we do is if we say, get over it, all right, in that way, then you just, yeah, Trina's saying, what if you reverse the question and say, hey, I didn't realize, that you were so happy in your job. I'd like to say as well, Beth, I know this sounds really weird probably at the moment. You might react to it in a different way. But what if you said, you know something, I keep hearing the love in this. You really do want me to be happy in a job. Is that right? And if they say yes, and you go, you'll be pleased to know I am. If that is your intent, and I have no reason to think you're lying, you'll be pleased to know I'm actually happy in it. It's suiting my needs perfectly. Jody, if you say, are you still playing that broken record? You understand that's aggressive. I just want to make sure, Jody, you can see that. And by the way, if it is something that somebody keeps asking you the same question over and over, you say, as far as I know, I've answered that a couple of times. What was it about I am happy in the job that I didn't explain properly? Yes, Jody, I want you to give some thought, not, you don't have to answer it now, but give some thought to, if you say, are you still playing that broken record? I want you to give some thought as to whether that is aggressive behavior. That's a push, all right? Because you are characterizing what they're doing. So I would like to suggest that you may want to reword that in a way which is, hey, I hear you. I've heard it a few times. I hear the love. You want me to be happy in my job, and I'm delighted to tell you I am. But thank you for caring. All right, so let me see this. Whenever I tell her something that is good, which is going well, right? Or what my husband surprised me with, she says, you're throwing up in her face and that she doesn't have a good marriage. Yes, and by the way, Beth, you understand that's her stuff, all right? So when you're not in a good marriage and somebody tells you about how good their marriage is, that is bound to trigger them. And so if you know that that triggers her, I don't think you have to stay away from your truth, all right? And I've got to say that. And you go, I please, when I think that's going to happen, Beth, you know what I'm inclined to say to people? Please don't run with this. I'm going to tell you something, and it's got nothing to do with you. It has to do totally with you. You got to hear what happened this week. No, or I'd really love to tell you what happened this week, but it's a fun thing that happened in my marriage. Is that okay with you? All right. And just set her up to hear it. Please don't run with this the wrong way. So yes, Jody, I totally get that. Jody says, after hearing it so many times and answering it, that's what I'd be pushed into wanting to say, to be honest. Yes, the thing is this. They're going to keep saying it. And so what I would do is I'd find a quicker answer to it, which is, hey, I think I've answered that one a couple of times. I'm happy. Thanks for caring. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing here. Just cut it off. Don't be nasty. Just go, think I've covered it a couple of times, if that's true. In case you didn't hear it, it's like, I am happy. But thank you for caring. Because really, they do care. Does that make sense? At some level, they do care. Beth, at some level, yeah, she would love your marriage. How many of you have people who say things like, well, that's okay for you because da 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 da? Yes, Jody, if you can see that the other person does care, and actually you can say, I hear the love in that. Thank you so much. Stop, move on. All right. And Beth, I can hear that you want me to have a happy job. Well, I'm delighted to tell you I'm having a blast. I know that you probably wouldn't, but I am having a blast. Or I hear that you think it's a dead-end job. I totally get that. Thank you. It's not how it feels to me. It suits my needs at the moment. I have the same thing, which is, I have people that sort of raise their eyebrows when they hear that I'm thinking about maybe, living in a trailer. And, and I go, I know you probably think there's trailer trash coming up, but you know something? Maybe I'm going to upgrade the neighborhood. It's like, just because I'm considering living in a luxury trailer does not mean that I'm going to be trailer trash. I'm still going to be me. So maybe I'll up the neighborhood, right? Do you understand that it's like, and some people are saying, gosh, didn't you manage your money better than that? I said, actually, I got quite a bit of money. I'd just like to enjoy it in a different way. I don't want to put it all into an apartment or whatever. I actually want to be able to live on my new thing is, it works really well. My new thing is I'm lowering my carbon footprint. Who can argue with that? Right? I'm you probably heard about the tiny house movement. I'm actually, working to lower my carbon footprint. I realize I don't need 2,500 square feet. I think I can learn to live in 500. It won't be easy, but here's the thing. This is my plan, and I always say that this is my plan. I will do it for a year, and if at the end of a year I'm going stir crazy, guess what? I've put enough money away so that I can, do the obvious thing. And I wanted to say that about, which one do you like, Trina? The other thing, Beth, that I'm thinking about is, what if you say, something? I hear the love in that, and I hear that you care. But do you know how much I'm learning about human nature? It's like I've gone to university to study a whole course on human nature. On psych psych 101 to 201 or something. Just go. It is like an everyday learning process. I'm loving it. Yes, the carbon footprint, I find, cuts them off immediately. You're thinking about getting into a trailer park, Sal? You? And I go, actually, I didn't think of it that way. I saw it as lowering my carbon footprint and having enough money. So if I want to go for a cruise, I can go and do it without even thinking twice. I believe I'm ahead of the game. I try that one as well, by the way, guys. That works well. Actually, I thought I was ahead of the game because I'm actually lowering my carbon footprint, and I believe that society will follow. I don't think I'm alone in this. I think a lot of people are looking at the size of their houses and going, do I really need this much space? All I'm doing is filling it with this much stuff. And I'm not really living my life. I am busy supporting the space instead of enjoying my life. And I found it, it's just like, I feel quite, so what we need to do if we want to is get better answers for people. All right. So Beth, have you got some better answers for when she says, are you still in that downbeat job or whatever she's going to say? I sat yesterday, and you're going to see a little bit of footage of that. I sat yesterday on one houseboat with the most incredible view. I want to tell you something. It was just like, in fact, both houseboats, when I sat down, they were both incredibly peaceful. I loved it. And I know that where I'm thinking about going is not going to be that peaceful. But, it was like in the one place, it was going to cost me 1,300 a month plus the electricity, plus propane, plus da da da, plus, um, to live in a really industrial area, basically. And I kept thinking, not about, oh gosh, isn't this beautiful sitting out here in a beautiful day with this view? It was about, what is this going to be like when it's peeing with rain and icy or whatever? You know what I mean? And I kept thinking not about the good stuff, because it was too easy to see this in good stuff. It was like, what is this going to feel like? And one of them, for example, it had a very steep staircase to get up to the second level. It had a half balcony type thing. And, the staircase was so steep, I needed two hands on the rail. I only had one rail, not two. So I literally had to go up the rail like this. And I'm going, who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? That's where I am right now. And if this houseboat moves, I'm in trouble. And what about when I'm coming down south? And the other thing was, on that particular one, the washer dryer, you had to go outside and do it from outside. I'm going, I don't think I've worked a lifetime to go outside in the rain and try and do my laundry. It's just like, I'm sorry, that doesn't sort of quite go with me. And I'm going, why didn't they not design this better? Who cares? Why not? They didn't. And my question to me was, do I want to spend what it takes to redesign this houseboat? And I reckoned it would cost me at least 50,000 to do what needed to be done. And I'm going, I don't like it that much, right? It's like, plus, if I'm having trouble already, I don't think my hips are going to get a whole lot better than they are at the moment. You know what I mean? I could really feel the angle of the ramp down to where from the dock down was, low tide, and it was really difficult. And I'm going, no, I've got to know that this is going to get worse for me, not better. Can I take, one of the questions I had is, can I take a golf cart down here? Because, that was a possibility, but I'm going, would you want to be taking a golf cart down something at that angle when it's snowing? I don't think so. So it was I did a lot of processing and went, I'm glad I went, because I managed to talk myself out of having a houseboat, as much as I like them. I just don't think at this age, if I wanted to do that, which I did, 20 years ago would have been the good time. Ask you, in what way, what helped you today? And by the way, if you're watching on the replay, please, drop us a comment and let me know how this helped. And if you'd like more of this type of stuff, then please leave me a comment and let me know. The important thing is to understand we are all dealing with it on probably a daily basis. That's the scary thing. It's not just you. We're all dealing with it. And so my reality is, please don't feel you're the only one. Please understand that just think twice before you say it, and also think about the fact it is your stuff, right? It is not that they made you angry. You got angry when you got triggered. And if you can see that this is your stuff, not somebody else's, or that you didn't have the words to be able to stop that conversation, If you couldn't see that, then, let's talk more about it. Give me more examples that we can work with as a case study. And let's see if we can find some new answers for you that will work slightly better. Yeah, you know something, Jody? It was. I'm so glad I did it, but I was very realistic in terms of, the one really was ugly and dirty when you drove up. All right, it was nice enough when you were down on the dock. And I don't know about you. I'm going. I don't think I want my friends struggling to find parking the way I just did. I don't think I want them to come to my house and go through this. No, it's cosmetic, right? It's cosmetic. But I don't have that many friends, and I would like it to be a little bit more welcoming than the first one was. However nice it was, it's like, this sucks, quite honestly. And whether that makes me a snob or whatever, I don't really mind. I just went, I don't think I want my friends going through this. They'd be scared for me. And by the way, I'd be scared for me. Do I want to be in an industrial area and with very little stuff going on at night, and be on my own and vulnerable? No, I don't think so. Yes, I don't think any of my friends would sleep well at night knowing that I was trying to do, this angle. Well, it's like this, trying to do this angle at my age. 20 years ago, not a problem. And then you've got to think about it, Jody. What am I going to do trying to carry groceries? Right? When I haven't got two hands to hold on. So, I was really very practical with myself, but you'll see the footage and you'll see why it was really beautiful. And I loved it for the moment. Unfortunately, the second one, I didn't take as much footage as I thought I was going to. And a big selling point, as you will see, is that each houseboat had a full container as storage. In other words, that you got your two parking spaces either side and a door into a container, and the whole container, you could put whatever you liked in the container. How many of you going, it was worth the money? Yeah, that's why they charge $1,300. So there were a lot of ups to it, but I just didn't like the houseboat that much on that second one. So I look at it and I go, I actually think my words were, I love the neighborhood and I would love another one that I liked here. But I also know that to get another one that I like there probably will cost me twice as much money as I want to spend. However, the interesting thing was that the discussion I also had was about this fact that I wasn't excited. Yeah, laundry in the rain was a definite no-no for me. It was just like, I can do a lot of things. I had already worked out the answer to the very steep staircase inside, which is take the staircase out and put an elevator. How many of you know that I would think like that? You can get a one-person elevator, and then I'm going, how would I get my bed up there if I take away the stairs? So there are a lot of different things, but it was, you look at it and you go, it was worth seeing them to find out that that isn't what I'm at. I kept saying, could I get a walker up and down here? Just because what's going to happen? Will it be easy to have a walker, for example, in a trailer? Probably not, but I think you could make a ramp in a trailer in the inside of it if you needed to. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that you could use a walker. So, I look at all of this and I keep thinking I'm not getting younger and my problems will probably get worse, not better. And that's okay. So it's been a very interesting experiment. I'm hoping that as life continues this week, that when somebody snips at you, you can take another look at it and go, oh, I know what I want to say, but it really isn't worth the effort. They're not going to change. Or, something, I've been on this phone for 20 minutes. I've had enough. Oh, So sorry, somebody just knocked on the door. I've got to go. Yeah, go. Or you can say, I think I heard somebody knock at the door. Not that they did, right? Find ways to get on with your life. Like, I would love to spend another half an hour with you, but quite honestly, I've spent 20 minutes more than I really had. I would like you more than anything, and because that's what I'm going to do as well, is to concentrate this week on what am I doing here that's not working. And that would be the difference. So you can write the angry letter, because that's how we started, the one that says, you really made me angry, or you really hurt me, or whatever. You can write that letter. You won't necessarily make a lot of brownie points here. Or you could change the wording and go, I got angry when, or I was hurt when. But when you really think about it, do they really care? That was my question. Do they really care? But if you do need to set a boundary and you feel you need to, word it well. All right? Don't do attack statements. Go, I know this is my stuff, but this is what I heard, this is what I felt, and I'm not asking you to change. I'm just trying to tell you my truth. And really, when you think about it, do they care? And that's a bit scary. And, my question would be to all of us, when did you last check the definition of unconditional love? And unconditional love, I don't think means that you have to put up with, hours and hours of people whining at you. I don't think unconditional love means, that you have to put up with people, accusing you of stuff. I don't think that. I think that we need them to feel loved is unconditional love. And if you go, something, I love you to bits, and I would love to spend another 3 hours here with you, but I can't. I need to get on with my life. I've got something urgent that I have to do before, 5:00, and I need to go now. By the way, if you want to tell me the rest in an email, go right ahead. I'll read it when I get a chance. Yes, Jody. And that's why Jody's saying, but the writing of the letter itself helps the healing process. Totally agree. So go through that thing and go, okay, that's an attack statement. Let me get out of attack and own it. So you look at it and go, you really made me angry. And then you go, no, I got angry when. So you put that next, and use the situation as a wonderful lesson in psychology. How about that? Okay, this triggered me. That's good, because I get to learn something new about myself. Let me see what I learn. Well, they should never have done this. Should. That's a control word, Sal. Maybe I want to drop that. Maybe. Yeah, I definitely want to drop that. Do you understand? And just literally journal it out until you understand a whole lot better. So I've got Dougie coming in a minute now, so I'm going to give you all a big hug and tell you I'd love to talk to you for the rest of the day, but life goes on. I am hoping that I will still be functioning in time for the evening broadcast. And I say that because Dougie and I are going to be moving boxes, and that could absolutely exhaust me. But if I don't feel well enough to do the evening broadcast, I will put up a warning to let you know that. I'll put that up on Facebook or Twitter. But I'm planning to do an evening broadcast. That's the good news. All right, everybody, big hugs. Love you dearly. I hope this helped some of you take a slightly different view on stuff, and know that I'm going to be working on it as much as you are. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, remember to look after one another, but please start by looking after yourself. Bye-bye for now. Maybe.